Buonasera a tutti, good evening and welcome to the Italian Radio Hour. Io sono Viviana and I would like to welcome back our regular listeners and also welcome any new listeners. Also be sure to like us on Instagram and Facebook at Italian Radio Hour and subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch up on any past video interviews. Vorrei dare il benvenuto ai nostri ascoltatori da tutto il mondo, grazie per essere con noi anche oggi mentre continuiamo il nostro viaggio per l'Italia e la cultura italiana. So today we're going on a journey across America, but not the America you think you know. Our guests are two Italian journalists who have lived in New York for over 25 years, writing for Corriere della Sera and La Stampa. But instead of staying in their familiar world of big cities, they decided to do something radical. They left it. For 105 days, Maria Teresa Cometto and Glauco Maggi traveled over 30,000 kilometers across what is called the flyover country, the America that is often ignored, misunderstood, or simplified. Their book, Qui non è Nuova York, and now in English as Recovering America, challenges stereotypes, questions media narratives, and invites us to see America through a different lens. So today we're going beyond the postcard and maybe challenge a few assumptions along the way. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Parli italiano? Do you want to learn, improve, or master your Italian? Istituto Mondo Italiano can help. Located in the heart of Regent Square, Mondo Italiano offers small group classes and one-on-one private tutoring in person or online to help you learn Italian in no time. Visit us online at istitutomondoitaliano.org. Good afternoon, Maria Teresa and Glauco. It is a true pleasure and honor to have you at the Italian Radio Hour. How are you today?
We are very well. Thank you so much. Thank you, Viviana, for having us.
And thank you, Glauco Maggi.
Wonderful. So obviously your fame, your reputation as a journalist precedes you, but I always like to take one step back and allow you to introduce yourself to our audience. Perhaps also tell us where you're originally from in Italy and what brought you to the United States, and if New York was your first and kind of only destination, or if you went somewhere else and then eventually landing in New York. Glauco, would you like to do the honors?
Yeah, thank you. I was born in Milan. I stayed all my life in Milan university and the job for Italian magazines and then La Stampa. When at a certain point I, with my wife Maria Teresa Cometto, decided it was time to change our life. Also because we have a daughter, Francesca. At the time she was 7, and we wanted to give her the possibility to understand, to enjoy, and to try another, not only language, but also culture. And so that's why we decided for New York. New York was always in our dreams as Italians, and we're talking about the 19th. At the time was the American boom for everything. And so that's why we wanted to come here. And working for both for important journals like Corriere della Sera and La Stampa, we managed to change our contractual situation, our working situation. And it wasn't easy, but we managed, and we tried to this adventure, and that's why we came here in August 2000. It was a beautiful New York at the time. Maybe Teresa will explain why we choose directly New York and why the downtown Manhattan, and especially Battery Park City, our original point of arrive here.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we were both journalists specializing in finance, and so Wall Street, of course, was the big attraction for us as a journalist. And as Glauco already said, also we wanted to have a family experience. So we moved to New York City, the first year in Battery Park City, not far away from Wall Street, and also because Battery Park City is a very kind of a family-friendly place with a lot of green, a lot of parks, and a beautiful, very good public school for our daughter. And then after 1 year, 9/11 happened. We were displaced from our house because we were living just under the Twin Towers. And indeed, we were the only two journalists there as witnesses of what happened. And in fact, the day after September 12th, our two articles were on the first pages of Corriere della Sera and La Stampa. And then we decided not to leave New York City like some friends thought we would do, and stay in New York City. We felt even more, at home in New York City. We just changed neighborhood, so we moved far away from the smoke and the debris and the devastation of Ground Zero. But since then, we decided to stay here, but because, well, as I said, New York City is the financial center of the world, and we have been writing about this all our professional life. But at the same time, being very curious as journalists, we wanted to explore the rest of the United States. And indeed, so far, we have visited all the 50 states except one. I don't know exactly why, Kansas. We are missing Kansas yet. And so we traveled a lot. But in 2021, we realized that we haven't done one of the, typical American dreams, the coast-to-coast trip. And so we decided to do the first trip from New York to the Pacific, through the states that are the least visited by tourists and even by Americans, the northern states like Minnesota, North Dakota, Montana, Nebraska. And so that's the origin of the first trip. And when we told our friend, the director of the Italian Cultural Institute in New York, Professor Fabio Finotti, that we wanted to do that, he said, "Oh, that's a beautiful idea to explore, as you said, Viviana, the flyover country. You must write for us." And so we left with the promise to write every day a diary about what we saw, the people we met, the places we visited. And it was published every day on the website of the Italian Cultural Institute. And after 2 years, we did the same with the southern states. And the result is the book that you mentioned, first published in Italian, Qui non è Nuova York. And now, just recently, Recovering America, published by Bordighera Press.
Wonderful. So, yes, so the question is, we will talk maybe about the logistics and so forth, but I really want to get into the cultural aspect of this one trip. And again, we both had the same experience of coming to the United States from our respective cities. And it looks like, especially as I'm digging a little deeper with this, with the Italian Radio Hour, that the image, the collective image that people, not American people, might have of the United States is that New York is America. So I'm going to actually ask you bluntly, is New York the worst place to understand America? What is your opinion on that?
Yeah.
But America is so complex, and there is everything in America, and New York is an important part. Might be you can say that it's different, but of course it's different. It's a continent with 50 states. The same life of the formation of America as the United States of America is in history that explain why you have so many different situations in every places. Historically, the situation in New York is because its vicinity with Europe and because of the origin of the immigration. New York is full of Italian, and New York also is full of entrepreneur. The history of New York tell us that the town, the city wasn't the biggest one at the beginning, but was a sort of conquest after the Erie Canal. Became an important, very important point for business, for trade, for everything. And that explain this attraction. At the first time, where the same America that came into New York created a sort of myth, but in the 1800s, you imagine how many from Europe came here, from Northern Europe, from Southern Europe, and they brought all the history. And you can see New York as in a kaleidoscopic image. You have everything. It's so fascinating, and the music, the cinematography, the art, all contributed to create this unique and with no comparison in any other places. That's what attracted us very much. I remember, Teresa too, when in Milan we dreamed literally working for our paper Il Mondo, where we worked together. We had to go there. We had to go there because it's so fascinating. I remember coming here for some trip, studying, interviewing people for the financial industry, mutual funds industry, for example. I came here and I had this image, beautiful, of New York, really stereotyped. I remember going, walking, and there is the curious for the Italian visitors, this tube with the smoke, unique in New York, and thousands of yellow taxis. So I think that I can say I was fascinated as a dreamer, as a kid, if you want.
Yeah, I would say that to understand America, you must also come to New York City, but you must visit many other places that are not New York. So you don't understand really America if you don't go, I don't know, to Valentine, Nebraska, where we went. It's a very small, okay, you can see. Okay, you can see here. Yes. Okay. So here you can see two friends that we made in Valentine, which is a very small town in Nebraska. These are Ruth and Curtis. He's a Marines veteran. She was a nurse. They are both Native Americans. And they were traveling with Mrs. Turtle, a turtle rescued from a road accident. So we stayed in a motel, and that morning a guy named Gordon arriving for breakfast, and immediately understanding that we were tourists, he told us, be careful. You don't have to come here only for the bison. You must come here for the people, because the people are what American is, like this couple, Curtis and Ruth. And then Gordon, who you may see him on the golf course, he told us that he had driven 7 hours from Colorado to go to this very exclusive golf club, 20 minutes from Valentine, and he invited us to go there. And when we went there, he made us hop on his golf cart, and he brought us from one hole to the other. So one stereotype about Americans is that most of people living here are not generous with their time. They are only thinking about dollars, about money. They are rude. They are rednecks, maybe even racist and violent. Instead, everywhere we went, we found very kind people, very open to meet us and to very curious to understand why we were in places like Valentine.
Yeah.
And inviting us to their home and so on. One curious thing, Gordon told us not to care only about bison, but we had a very scary encounter with the bison in Yellowstone. You see Glauco hiding behind a tree while 3 huge bison came toward us, totally unexpected in Yellowstone, but we were safe. And we were able to, to get away with no harm.
Yes.
Yes.
So yes, indeed, my question about New York, which I do love as well, is that sometimes focusing on the big cities might prevent us from actually appreciating what is not talked about. This look at the pictures of this beautiful Greenland, that we might be missing the true essence of people, because the country is made of people after all, not just skyscrapers and dollars as you have seen. So at what point during this trip, you also, as a journalist, obviously your acumen for observation, you started to realize perhaps we misunderstood this country. There is more to it. Glauco, if you would like to.
You are right. Is that it's a discovery that you could travel for 1 year, not 4 months as we did, but also 4 months, 2 and 2, were enough to give you the spirit and the complexity of this country. Here, Teresa, for example, is showing this place. You wouldn't say that it's so beautiful and it's so Arkansas. Because Arkansas is Bentonville. Bentonville is one of our gem of our trip. And you discovered that, for example, coming from New York, where maybe you know that Walmart cannot open his stores because there is this idea that Walmart was anti-unions. So historically, you cannot open a Walmart in New York, and so there is this idea that Walmart is the image of the closeness, the image of not the
consumerism, capitalism.
This is a product of Walmart. The heir of Walmart, Alice, with a ton of money. The family Walton, they have 4 or 5 members in the first 10 ranking of the richest people in America. And Alice decided in the very place of birth of Walmart to create a beautiful, really beautiful, amazing museum, the
Crystal Bridges
Museum, built on a bridge, as you see, but is maybe the best one in America for the American art now, and you don't pay to go; it's free, and also this is a sign of the specific philosophy in America, that they can have the fortune and the ability to make a lot of money. as in no other place in the world, but also these
Give
same
back.
people give back. This is the magic that we discovered in many places. It's really a nature of the American now.
So it sounded that this was maybe one of the many moments where the narrative that you had in your head didn't match reality, actually surprised you to discover places like this. So I'm getting a feeling that you really felt very close to the people that you have met from these pictures and these stories from Valentine as well. There seems to be some sort of immediate connection. Do you think this connection might have dealt with people being surprised of having two famous Italian journalists wanted to talk to them and discovering what they were all about in places where, again, most tourists don't go and also most Americans don't go?
Yeah.
Maria Teresa.
Yeah, I think for sure people hearing us talking Italian, there is a lot of love for Italy everywhere. We found people claiming to have Italian roots really from the north to the south. So many funny and beautiful stories. So being Italian was attractive for everybody. And also I think that our attitude to really connect and being curious about the other people was something that they understood we could be trusted. So one character, I think one feature of the Americans we met is that trust is really important. And when they understand that they can trust you, they really invite you to their home. They share their stories. That was really beautiful, and everywhere we were welcomed. For example, here you are seeing an image with Opal Lee, the grandmother of Juneteenth. We asked her to meet us, and she welcomed us to her home in Fort Worth, Texas. You can imagine that when we were in New York City planning for this trip, when we told an American friend that we were going to Texas, she said, "Oh no, that's very dangerous. Those people shoot." So she was warning us about danger of going to Texas. Instead, here in Texas, we spent a whole day with this lady that is who is going to become a centenary. She will 100 years old this October. And so another stereotype is or in the past there was even the theory that America is there is still a systemic racism. We didn't find this. This lady, when her family was victims of racism, she had a very tough life, but now she spent a whole day with us, and she said that she preaches blind love with everybody, doesn't matter the color of the skin. And
so the teaching of Martin Luther King is really
still alive.
Still alive.
And and she explained why when she was younger, 89 years old, she decided to walk from Texas, from Fort Worth to Washington, D.C., to ask the president to make Juneteenth a public holiday, which happened in 2021, a federal public holiday. So this lady probably was one of the meetings that impressed us most, but it was not the only one.
Another very important, you see these two guys, Italian, both Italian, was really was not a meeting prepared.
No.
We didn't know Donatella, but when you talk to her, you discovered that in New Mexico, of all places, there is the major expert in Route 66 in America. It is the Donatella D'Avanzo, Italian from Trieste.
Photographer and anthropologist.
She decided to go there, and she was so good that the National Park Service commissioned to her an entire study about the route and the community living on the route, the photos and everything. There will be the centennial in this September.
No, it is this year is 100 years from the opening of Route 66.
And
she will
do that.
Wonderful. So now, if we, obviously we all have our imaginary of, would you say that Europeans might often imagine Middle America as perhaps less educated, more closed, and perhaps even more intolerant? Did you notice that there wasn't indeed? Is this what you think the conscience is from outside the US? And then obviously your trip proved that to be completely wrong.
Yes, completely wrong. First of all, as you know, there are thousands of universities, research centers everywhere. And we visited many colleges and universities where they teach Italian. And for example, this image is about the Northern Arizona University in Flagstaff, Arizona. And even there, they teach Italian because Italian is quite popular. Of course, it has a lot of competition from our languages, including Japanese. We learned it's quite popular, also Japanese. But young students, they engage in, they study Italian, and Italian professors are very creative to attract them. And here, for example, they have a program called Language and Linguini.
Okay,
yeah, very, very nice title. And students are eager to go to Italy, to Arezzo, to do courses in Italian in the morning, and in the afternoon cooking linguini with Chef Pino in a trattoria there. But so the other stereotype is that apart from New York and I don't know, of San Francisco, Los Angeles, other important cities, there are no cultural important attractions. There is no culture, as you said. No, we found museums fascinating everywhere. And new museums are founded every year. For example, here there are 3 new museums that we visited.
Yes, the first one was the first American museum in Oklahoma City, built, studied, conceived by Native Americans themselves. So
the first one
that you can find only Native American. Also inside, we talked with a young lawyer that explained the idea of studying directly their history and proposed how advanced their condition that we know also now is not the best, of course, but we saw this kind of improvement in every other historical museum situation, like the International African Museum, American Museum in Charleston, South Carolina. We were there, it was just opened the year before. And very interesting, we found also there some Italian thing that we didn't know was there. For example, the history of rice that we consider, of course, pretty Italian, especially in Piedmont, from where Teresa came. And we found the curious thing that in
They did right. Yeah, go ahead.
yes, in this museum we learned that the first people cooking rice,
Rising
rising rice, were African. The African
slaves
slave,
from a certain part of Africa.
certain part of the west part of Africa, and they were so good that created the gold rice, now very famous in Carolina. And it's interesting that maybe you thought that you were really original in doing rice in Italy, but instead also in America, also in places like this, you can learn that there was a long history. Maybe the most troubling but so important was the lynching. Imagine a name lynching for a museum and memorial was in Montgomery, and you expect that in Alabama. And maybe you can see here is a beautiful and very, very sad sculpture. But in the second behind, you can see that those piece of metal or yes, stones for and everyone represents an American county, una contea americana, with the number of the lynching. There is an historical research ongoing now because you know that at the time the lynching was not always something that the authorities pursued, and that's why prosecuted. So that's important now that this museum already, I think, found 2,000 or 3,000 situations not known before, and historically we found it very, very important.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. So I'm actually going to play a little devil's advocate and ask you the opposite of this question. Was there anything that confirmed the stereotype even a little bit?
Well, yes. One stereotype that we couldn't totally demystify is about food. Yeah, we are Italians, so we know about food, and not always we were able to find, food satisfying kind of local recipes. Two things. One thing is that in many remote locations, restaurants close very early. We are not used to eat at 5:30 in the afternoon. So in one place in Albany, Texas, where anyway there is a very interesting small museums in an old jail, and it's a beautiful museum. But when we tried to go to have dinner at 7 p.m., all the restaurants were closed. And so many nights we had to buy pints of ice cream like teenagers and having dinner with the gelato. Other times we found pizzas cooked with amazing ingredients that are unknown in Italy, like honey or
crawfish.
Crawfish was good. Yes, a pizza with crawfish in Louisiana was good. So the culinary standard, yes, is not not the best feature of our trip.
Even though probably you discovered local specialties that you were not familiar with.
Yes, like the fish in the Great Lakes. One very nice discovery for us was the Upper Peninsula in Michigan, which is not very well known. Many American tourists go there, and it's beautiful. but it's not a popular destination for Italian tourists, absolutely. And there on the Great Lakes, the landscape is wonderful. People also very, very, very kind. And there are places that you wouldn't expect, like the Mackinac Island. You see one shot from Mackinac Island.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you ever went there.
Not yet.
Not yet. So the Mackinac Island has a very peculiar record. It is the only city, because it is a city also, Mackinac, with a mayor, the longest serving mayor in America, and she is a woman. So it's the only place where cars or any motor vehicle are not allowed. Why? Because it's a beautiful island that since the last 19th century was a natural park, so a touristic destination for Americans. And when the first car arrived to the island, all the horses, there are 500 horses and 500 people, all the horses got scared, panicked, and people understood that it could be the end of their paradise. So they voted a resolution not to allow any cart that was not drawn by horses. And the resolution is still there. And so you see here, for example, a delivery of goods with horses, taxis, buses, everything has only horses or bicycles. The only motor vehicles allowed are the fire trucks and the ambulances, of course, but they don't use sirens, not to scare the horses. They only use lights. So that's a peculiar places that, it was very special.
Teresa was talking about the Upper Peninsula, and we discovered that there was now it's like the Langhe, like Piedmont. And there are many vineyards.
Yes,
and one thing that we discovered in America, maybe coming from Italy, we thought that we are the master of wine. Just drink Italian wine. They were finished. Instead, America, you can discover, and we discovered that in literally any states, you can find wines,
except Alaska. No,
Alaska. Actually, no. you find a special.
No, they don't grow.
No, they don't grow grapes, but do wines also there. And there was here was a good discovery in. One of the first stops that we did in, I remember, was New York State and between New York State and Pennsylvania, Italian winery, the Mazza and the other winery, a lot of those there. And so if there is a stereotype that Americans are not good at wine, it's cancelled.
Debunked. And I wanted to, when you started to talk about Louisiana and rice, and I said Lady Wright, I apologize for the interruption, but there is indeed the clear connection between the rice variety Lady Wright from Louisiana and our arborio, because it was the arborio is indeed was born from mating. Now it's not mixing. It's the two plants of the Louisiana Lady Wright and the Italian Vialone. So that's the clear connection between our.
You know what? Thank you for saying this, because both my parents were born in Arborio. Mm-hmm. Arborio is a village in Vercelli, and so my family comes from Arborio, and one of my grandmothers was a mondina. A women cleaning the rice fields from weeds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and yes, not to go into the culture and also the beautiful songs that came out from that hard labor in the fields. Obviously, Bitter Rice would be a movie that we would recommend everyone to watch. So we're gonna go into a short break. Don't go anywhere. We will continue to talk about America.
Do you love Italian food? Want to learn the secrets of homemade pasta, sauces, and traditional recipes, just like Nana used to make? At Mondo Italiano, our authentic Italian cooking classes bring the taste of Italy right to Pittsburgh. From fresh pasta to regional specialties, every class is a delicious journey through Italy's culinary traditions. Spots fill quickly, so reserve your seat today. Call us at 412-478-2681 or find us online. Mondo Italiano, where Italy comes alive one dish at a time.
Un caffè, per favore. For more than 35 years, Pittsburgh has started its mornings with La Prima Espresso. From freshly roasted beans from around the world to the perfect espresso or cappuccino, every cup is crafted with care. Stop by and enjoy the warmth of our baristas and familiar faces, or bring the taste of Italy home. Order online today at laprima.com. La Prima Espresso, Pittsburgh's coffee. Okay, so we are back with Maria Teresa and Glauco. And again, you are more than free to share any other pictures or stories. My question is to you as journalists at this point, do you think media, Italian or American, have failed in telling the real America?
Glauco.
In a way, you can say that because it's not easy to be open and to be complete. So another limit can be that you usually see America with it's a natural thing with the European and especially Italian eyes, and that can be dangerous because you have to be open to understand everything in America. And one thing to understand America that, in my opinion, the Italian also journalists don't appreciate as they should are the presidential library. We visited 6 of them, and it is
During this
during this trip. Yes, it was many more. But in this trip, you have we have the occasion to discover many things, to learn histories of America from within, and it's not true that you have just a PR presentation of the history of the presidents, because they are almost of them. They are very good in be open. For example, objective. For example, the Nixon was really good in this case. So you are talking about a president that was not impeached, but almost impeached, and had not resigned, and not so good history. But you learned that also in politics in America is so complex that you can find the reality hardly studying. We didn't know that the eulogy of Nixon, for example, was read by Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton in this picture, and the real, because this is the only
replica of the
replica, perfect replica. In a way,
the Oval Office.
Yes, it's amusing. But you go in the library, and you learn if you want, if you are really interested, you can really have all the documentation of of American history. And one thing just amusing was the visit to the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library in Simi Valley, California. This is the real Air Force One, where Ronald Reagan used to sit close to the pilot. He had a special seat for himself because he enjoyed as a kid stay close to the pilot.
Yeah, I would add this, that unfortunately most media's, foreign media, especially Italian media, they have correspondence only in New York City, maybe in Washington, D.C., and they don't travel a lot, except for I don't know, following the presidential elections, stuff like that, and traveling like we did and meeting so many people. For example, our conclusion is that what you see on social media and on mainstream media is not really what happens in the flyover country. I mean, we didn't see Americans so angry with each other, so fighting with each other, so divided. Even from a political point of view, the signs, the banners, the political banners that we saw in small towns all around were not about the presidential election. They were about local issues, the school, the sheriff, the cleanliness, the judges. So because we found that there is still a lot of community spirit and willing to work together to solve the real problems that affect workers, families, and so on. And that's, of course, it's not catchy maybe for media because because media are more focused on shocking news, but it is the reality that we found.
Maybe there is an example that we found in Wilkinson, is the capital of fracking, and we came from New York City, where, and not only there, but there is this sort of cultural fight between about energy, between the people that are against the oil, against the carbon oxide, okay, and there's much animosity in that. If you go there in Wilkinson, as you said, it's the town that went up and down because it's the center of a lot of drilling, and the people there are natural in explaining that they don't fear. There is no a lot of problem about fracking. They explain that it's really sure, really safe, and so they don't fight with animosity. They say that their life is linked to this energy, and that's after that we discovered that now America is really and it will continue to be for decades.
So something that struck me, just to change direction a little bit and bring it back home to Italy. So something that struck me from your journey is that you were traveling through parts of America where Italian presence is historically almost absent, unlike New York and California. So the question is twofold. One, did being Italian feel different depending on where you were? And two, did you find traces of Italy where you didn't expect them?
We found traces of Italy everywhere. For example, here in St. Louis, there is the Hill, a neighborhood that is very Italian. And so typically one thinks that immigrants from Italy were mostly from southern states, from Sicily, Calabria, Naples, Campania. And instead we found several communities coming from Lombardia, from Veneto, from Tuscany. Here, for example, the Sant'Ambrogio church that resembles the Sant'Ambrogio church in Milan was built by immigrants from Lombardy, from Lombardia, from villages around Milano. And also other here, Little Italy in Arkansas, very close to Little Rock, and Tontitown, again in Arkansas. These two immigrants colonies were founded by immigrants from Veneto. So we found immigrants from Italy everywhere. On the other hand, I think that Americans think that Italians in America, they open only pizza or restaurant, or maybe they are, I don't know, singers or artists. This is a stereotype from Americans towards Italians. And instead, in America now there are a new young generation of Italians who are scientists, researchers, entrepreneurs, founders of startups. Here in Pasadena, California, for example, at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, that is NASA's center, we found that there are 30 Italian engineers, software developers, scientists working there. And they are young, many women, many more women in charge than in our Italy. And they deal with very deep questions and deep research topics like, is there life in the universe apart from on the Earth? So that was a nice, very nice meeting. And but there are people like this everywhere in America. Houston, for example, also everywhere.
So I have one question each. The simple questions are usually the biggest. So I was wondering if there is a person that perhaps you met along this long journey who changed the way that you see America. And was there a moment of unexpected kindness that stayed with you? So I know these seem to be the easiest question, but it's hard to pick perhaps just one moment and one person. But I was wondering, Glauco, if you can maybe take that to.
Yeah, as I wrote in our articles during the trip, after 1 month that we were driving and going through America, we were there in Oregon, Mount Hood. And until this point, we didn't have any friendship, because it's very difficult having friendship traveling 200-300 kilometers a day and then right in the air. But in this case, after 1 month, in the mountain, Mount Hood, Oregon, we met with these two wonderful people.
Shell and Tom.
Yeah, yes, in Shell and Tom, and they were so kind, not only to talk with us in the mountains during the visit, but inviting us for the day after to their home, and as you see, to play bocce with them. Was a warm feeling that we rediscovered after 1 month. We had this occasion. And by the way, after that, we met many other Americans that were fond of our friendship. It was very nice.
Maria Teresa, for you?
I mentioned already Miss Opal Lee. We felt already that I mean, racism is still a problem in America, of course, but we didn't think it was so systemic. But a meeting in Tulsa, which is Tulsa is Arizona?
Oklahoma.
Sorry, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Sorry. A meeting there with the publisher of the Eagle, the Oklahoma Eagle, a newspaper that was born to talk about the horrible massacre that happened there at the beginning of last century. That destroyed completely the so-called Black Wall Street by a white racist mob, of course. So we were expecting that this publisher would be pretty angry and willing to kind of to revenge that and to talk about that in an angry way. Instead, this guy, old guy, was very peaceful. He introduced us to his secretary who was white, and they said that she had been with him for her professional life. And he was talking about his commitment to revive the community, the Black Wall Street, and to build a museum about that and to welcome everybody to learn the history. But moving on. Moving on is maybe, a slogan, but it is true. So we found that even the people that were, with a painful background, most of them really were willing to move on and to look with a kind of hopeful attitude toward the future. So that really impressed me.
Mm-hmm. So Maria Teresa and Glauco, I wanted to thank you for helping us see an America that is most invisible, but perhaps more real than the one we think we know. And your journey reminds us that understanding a country needs time, curiosity, and humility to question our own assumptions. And maybe, just maybe, the further we go from the headlines, the closer we get to the people. And I wanted to thank you for that. But unfortunately, our time together is up. Big Ben ha detto stop, and it's time for us to say arrivederci alla prossima.
Ciao, arrivederci. Grazie mille per averci avuto qua.
We want to thank you for tuning in into the program. And if you have any questions or comments, or if you have any travel topics you would like us to address, please contact us at theitalianradiohour@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. And remember, if you or any of your family and friends have missed a prior episode or would like to listen to this episode again, subscribe to the Italian Radio Hour on YouTube, where you catch your favorite podcasts. And also, don't forget to share this podcast, because sharing is caring. And again, a biggest thank you to our guests, Maria Teresa Cometti and Glauco Maggi, the authors of Recovering in America, or Questa non è Nuova York, if you would like to read it in Italian. Thank you to our sponsors, Istituto Mondo Italiano and La Prima Espresso. And until next time, alla prossima. Ciao ciao.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.